Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the real engine room of modern software. We're talking about test automation. You know, the secret sauce that lets companies build those amazing digital products we use every day and do it faster and more reliably than ever. Let's dive right in. So, have you ever stopped to think about how your favorite apps just work? You know, you get a cool new feature, a slick update, and somehow the old stuff doesn't suddenly fall apart. How does that even happen? Well, the short answer is a really disciplined, and these days, a highly automated approach to quality. For the longest time, testing was this grueling, manual job. Literally a person clicking through every single button every single time a change was made. I mean, talk about slow and repetitive. And let's be honest, it's just wide open to human error. But automation, it completely changes the game. It's incredibly fast, it's perfectly repeatable, and it's programmatically accurate every single time. So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll talk about building a solid blueprint for your automation. Then we'll get real about the common hurdles that trip teams up. After that, we'll dig into how to measure what actually matters. And finally, we'll look to the future, testing smarter, not later. All right, part 1, building the automation blueprint. This is all about strategy. And I can't stress this enough. Without a solid plan, even the fanciest tools in the world won't save you. Your strategy is everything. You know, a great way to think about this is like building a skyscraper. You wouldn't just show up on day one and start welding beams together, right? Of course not. You'd need a detailed architectural blueprint. Well, your test automation strategy is that blueprint. It guides every single decision you're about to make. And that blueprint really has 4 critical parts. First, you've got to define clear goals and scope. What exactly are you trying to do? And what parts of the app are you going to automate? Next, you plan out your actual test approach. Then, you choose the right tools for the job. And finally, and this one is huge, you have to plan for how you're going to maintain these tests down the road. A core concept that guides that approach is the testing pyramid. So, picture this. The foundation is made of hundreds, maybe thousands of super fast unit tests that check tiny bits of code. The middle layer has fewer integration tests, making sure different components play nicely together. And right at the very top, you have just a handful of slower end-to-end tests that mimic a real user's journey. This structure is just brilliant because it gives you the fastest feedback at the lowest level, which is exactly where bugs are the cheapest to fix. Now, when it comes to choosing a framework, it's all about fitting the tool to your team and your project. For instance, something called the Page Object Model, or POM, is fantastic for apps with really complex user interfaces because it makes the tests way easier to maintain. On the other hand, you have Behavior-Driven Development, or BDD, which uses plain English. This is perfect for getting everyone, from developers to the business folks, all on the same page. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly sums up the most important rule when you're picking your tools. It's not about what's trendy or what has the flashiest features. It's about what solves your specific problems and fits with your team's skills. The context of your organization is absolutely everything. Okay, so even with the most perfect blueprint, you are going to hit some bumps in the road. That's just reality. So let's talk about navigating those common hurdles. And what's interesting is that the biggest challenges are often not technical at all. They're about people and planning. I mean, where do you even start? Just deciding what to automate first can be paralyzing. Gaps in communication can lead to total chaos. And of course, there's always the big one, money. How do you manage the cost, both upfront and for all the maintenance later?
And then you've got the technical headaches. Modern apps have dynamic user interfaces. With things popping up and disappearing, it can be a nightmare for a script to keep up. You have to test across a zillion different devices, iOS, Android, you name it. And every time the app changes, guess what? Your test scripts have to be updated too.
Okay, so you've got a plan, you're navigating the hurdles, but how do you actually know if any of this is working? Is it worth it? That brings us to section 3, measuring what truly matters. The number 1 rule of measurement is to avoid vanity metrics. A big flashy dashboard that says you ran 10,000 tests looks impressive, right? But it tells you absolutely nothing about the quality of your product. The real focus has to be on the value your tests are delivering, not just the sheer volume. And one of the biggest value killers out there is something called a flaky test. This is a test that sometimes passes, sometimes fails, for no obvious reason. Flaky tests are just toxic. because they completely destroy your team's trust in the entire automation system. And if nobody trusts the results, the whole effort is pretty much worthless. So, what should you be tracking? Well, these are the metrics that really tell the story. Your defect detection rate. Are you actually finding bugs before your customers do? Test execution time. Is your feedback loop nice and fast? Test coverage. Are you testing the most critical parts of your app? The flaky test rate. Is your suite reliable? And the big one, automation ROI. Are you saving more time and money than you're spending on this?
Speaking of ROI, let's talk about a really tangible goal. A lot of teams aim to cut their regression testing time by at least 50%. I mean, just imagine turning a grueling 2-day manual testing slog into a 4-hour automated run. That's not just saving time, that's a massive boost to how fast you can ship new things. That's real, measurable value. And all of this leads us right into our final section, testing smarter, not later. This is really about a fundamental shift in philosophy, one that's enabled by everything we've just talked about.
The key idea here is something called shift-left testing. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's the practice of moving all your testing activities from the end of the development process way, way earlier, or to the left on a project timeline. This timeline just paints the picture perfectly. In the old world, testing was this one big, stressful gate you had to get through at the very end. But with the shift-left approach, testing becomes this continuous thing that happens right alongside development. It's not a gate anymore, it's more like a guardrail, keeping the whole process on track from the very start. And why does this matter so much? Well, it all comes down to one word: cost. A bug that a developer finds while they're still coding, that's simple, cheap to fix. But that exact same bug, if it gets out into the wild and your customers find it, oof, the cost to fix it explodes, not just in engineering time, but in lost trust and maybe even lost revenue. And if we look even further down the road, the next horizon is basically already here. We're seeing the rise of AI-driven tools that can analyze an app and automatically write tests, run them, and get this, even fix themselves when the app's UI changes. This is poised to make automation even more powerful and accessible than ever before. So, to wrap this all up, what are the big things to remember? First, a clear strategy isn't just nice to have, it's your essential blueprint. Second, expect hurdles, both human and technical, and plan for them. Third, measure the actual value your automation brings, not just a bunch of vanity metrics. And finally, shift left. Integrate testing early and often to find those bugs when they're small and cheap to fix. And that leaves us with one final question to chew on. As all this AI-driven automation gets smarter and smarter, what happens to the human tester? Does that role just disappear? Or does it evolve into something new and maybe even more important? Focusing on things like creative and exploratory testing that, for now, machines just can't replicate. Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.